Francesca Piribanda.
And now the details. Over 100 houses in Vilimukulu ward of Chima South constituency have been flooded following torrential rains experienced for the past 2 days. Manga Mulopwe, Mukanda and Nkungube villages have all been submerged destroying crop fields and killing livestock. Chima South boarding school has also been affected, leaving pupils in dire straits. Chima South Member of Parliament Davison Mungandu has confirmed the development to Damo News, calling for urgent evacuation of residents. He adds that the affected families are in dire need of relief food and temporary shelter.
Rains continue to cause havoc across the country. Chima South constituency has been overwhelmed by flooding. Vilimukulu ward and surrounding villages such as Manga, Mulopwe, Mkanda and Mkungube have been affected. Households, crops and livestock have been submerged and people left homeless. About 100 households have so far been submerged. Chima South constituency Member of Parliament Davison Mungandu spoke to Diamond News.
The situation is quite bad. Many villages have been submerged in water. By yesterday, we had to engage youths to try and help rescue, especially the underage, the children, the overaged, so that they carry them to the higher ground, which is quite far again. Much of Manga village has been submerged, and the part of Chima South boarding has also been affected. So the situation is quite bad. Making matters worse, there are no signs that the rains maybe will reduce and the water is still coming. So maybe I'll be going to GMMU. If possible, they do what they did in Monze, where they went to stop us and try to rescue the people. Because even food cannot reach the people.
He adds that the affected families are in their need of relief food and temporary shelter.
Signs are there. If people are helped, especially with the temporal or tents, so that they can stay on the upper land temporarily. We've been going through this cycle each year. I think starting about 4 years ago because of changing climatic conditions. But the situation is becoming worse each year.
So far, no fatalities have been recorded as a result of the heavy rains.
No one has died so far. The long-term solution, I know it's a difficult one because we need to relocate people, especially those who are in the low-lying areas, to higher grounds. But to do that, we need first to put infrastructure. Schools are in the valley. Clinics, hospitals are in the valley. So we need to shift all these things. So it will take a long-term plan to do that. That has been a challenge.
For 4 years now, Chima has suffered from floods due to torrential rains experienced in the area, calling for urgent need to relocate the people to higher land. Cecilia Kayayamprokoso reporting for...
In a related development in Western Province, torrential rains have destroyed acres of farmlands in Sananga, raising fears of hunger in the region. Over 300 fields of maize, cassava and rice have been submerged in water in Lukanda area. Due to the flooding, the community members have been forced to start harvesting their maize, their cassava, so that they do not lose out completely. One of the affected people, Mwala Maimbolwa, an Induna of Nakongana village, has told Damo News that his people will starve if government will not provide relief food in the next few months. And Sibuku Masheba, a mother of 5 who cultivated 3 acres of cassava, 1 acre of rice and another of maize, is saddened by the loss of her crops.
Flashy floods have caused destruction to over 300 crop fields in Sananga's Lukanda area in Western Province following a heavy downpour experienced in the last few weeks. A spot check by Damo News in some field found all crops submerged in the water, matched the worry of community members. This has left them without a choice but to harvest the little they could from the already dying cassava plants.
Okay.
Induna Kamtuma of Nakonga village has expressed worry on how he and his subjects will survive this year now that all their crops have been destroyed by floods. Every crop that we planted has been destroyed by floods. We are in big trouble. If government is not going to intervene, my people will die of hunger. Similar concerns have been raised by community members in this area who are now worried about how the children will survive amidst the looming hunger crisis. Our cassava, rice and maize have been all submerged in the water. As we speak, the water in our fields is above the knees. All our crops are submerged. We have nothing to rely on. We troubled ourselves by growing enough crops, but unfortunately, all of them have been destroyed by the floods. The only thing we managed to recover are tiny cassava roots. All is gone. Western Province is one out of many provinces that have been affected by floods in the country, as weather experts warn of continued adverse weather patterns. And if this continues, a food crisis is looming here. Marcus, Brian, Sakwita, Damu News.
Police in Chipata district in Eastern Province have launched a manhunt for a man who was captured on a mobile phone raping a woman. Provincial Acting Police Commanding Officer Davis Simwanza confirms investigations were instituted to arrest the culprits involved in the incident that occurred last Saturday at the city's golf course. Mr. Simwanza has urged members of the public to help the police with the information of the suspected man and his accomplices that took advantage of the unknown woman. Meanwhile, Chipata gender activist Ruth Grant-Peary has described the act as an effort on as an affront, on women's rights. She expresses dismay that while women are expected to protect one another, however, in the video, some were heard cheering the rapist. In the 2 minutes 5-second video recorded by a bystander, some men are seen assisting the rapist take advantage of the victim, who was seen trying to flee the scene, but was overpowered by the crowd and the attacker.
Investigations into the same.